The message arrived on a Tuesday. Earth's largest space antenna picked up the signal first. It came from deep space, encoded in a pattern so perfect that scientists knew right away it wasn't natural. Within hours, every major government had the same information. Aliens were real and they wanted to talk. "Play it again," said Director Kim as she paced the room. The technician nodded and pressed a button. A holographic image appeared above the conference table. The alien had blue skin and 4 eyes. It spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, we are the Galactic Council, a union of 53 spacefaring species. We have watched your development for centuries. You have reached a point where we can no longer ignore you. We invite Earth to send one representative to the Council as an observer. You will learn from us. You will see how advanced civilizations behave. Perhaps in a few hundred years you might earn a voice in our meetings." The message ended and the room fell silent. "They think we're children," General Ryu said, his fist hitting the table. "They want us to sit quietly and learn from our betters." Director Kim nodded. "Yes, but they've also given us something invaluable, a way into their world." "So we accept?" asked the Prime Minister. "We accept," Director Kim said, "but we must choose our representative carefully." 3 months later, in a secure underground facility, 20 candidates sat waiting. They were Earth's best: diplomats, scientists, military leaders. Each believed they were the perfect choice to represent humanity. Park Jin sat alone in the corner. At 42, he was neither the oldest nor the youngest candidate. His record was impressive but not flashy. A diplomat with 15 years of experience, fluent in 7 languages with degrees in both international law and astrophysics. What his file didn't mention was his 4 years in special forces or his talent for games of strategy. A woman in dyed satyr, a gray suit, entered the room. "Thank you all for coming. I am Director Kim. Today's final test will determine who represents Earth to the galaxy." The candidates were led to separate rooms. In each room was a strange device, a gift from the Galactic Council to help select a suitable representative. Park sat before the alien machine and placed his hands on the glowing panels as instructed. Immediately his mind filled with images and puzzles. The device tested everything: intelligence, emotional control, ethical reasoning, creative thinking. It presented diplomatic scenarios with impossible choices. It showed visions of alien cultures, so different from human experience that understanding them seemed impossible. 5 hours later, Park emerged from the room, tired but composed. The other candidates looked broken. Some were crying, others stared blankly at walls. Director Kim collected the results personally. The next day, only Park Jin was called back. "The alien device gave you the highest score we've ever seen, Director," Kim said, sliding a folder across her desk. "But it's not why you were chosen." Park raised an eyebrow. "No? No. The Council sent us that device to select someone humble, someone who would sit quietly and accept humanity's place at the bottom." She tapped the folder. "Your psychological profile suggests you're quite capable of appearing humble while being anything but." Park opened the folder. Inside was a complete analysis of his personality, thinking patterns, and potential actions in various scenarios. "This accurate?" he asked. Director Kim smiled. "The Earth Security Council thinks so. That's why we're sending you instead of the scientist who actually scored highest on the alien test. We're not looking for an observer, Park. We're looking for someone who can change the game." Park closed the folder. "What exactly are you asking me to do?" "Officially, observe and learn as the Council instructed." "Unofficially?" Director Kim leaned forward. "Find their weaknesses. Build relationships. Look for opportunities to advance Earth's position. We refuse to wait centuries for a voice in galactic matters." Park nodded slowly. "And if I succeed? If I find a way to improve our standing? Then you'll have done your duty to humanity," she replied. "But be careful. We know almost nothing about these aliens or their technology. They could be monitoring everything you say or do." 2 weeks later, Park stood on the launch platform, beside Earth's newest spacecraft. The ship was small but elegant, built with Earth's best technology. Beside it stood a much stranger vessel, a shuttle sent by the Council to guide Earth's representative to their headquarters. The alien pilot was tall and thin with gray skin. He looked at the human ship with what seemed like amusement. "This vessel is acceptable for the journey," the alien said in a mechanical voice. Though primitive by Council standards, Park bowed slightly. "We are honored by your guidance." Reporters shouted questions as Park prepared to board. "What will you say to the aliens? Are you afraid? What are your goals at the Council?" Arngdi turned to the cameras with a modest smile. "I am simply honored to represent Earth. I go to learn from those more advanced than us, as is proper." Director Kim watched from a distance, her expression unreadable. Once aboard, Park settled into the captain's chair. The ship had a crew of 5, all military personnel disguised as technical staff. Captain Song, the pilot, waited until they were alone to speak freely. "Your quarters are secure, sir. We've swept for monitoring devices as best we can with our technology." Park nodded. "Good. Once we're clear of Earth, I want all available data on the Council ships, especially their defensive systems." "Already planning for trouble?" Captain Song asked with a slight smile. "I'm planning for everything," Park replied, watching through the view screen as Earth became smaller behind them. The Council has existed for thousands of years. They've developed a system that keeps them comfortable and in control. Systems like that don't change unless forced. And you're going to force them? Park's eyes remained fixed on the stars ahead. "Let's just say I don't intend to spend my time there nodding and taking notes." The Earth ship followed the alien shuttle into deep space. As they traveled, Park studied everything he could about the Council, their known species, their technology, their political structure. The information was limited, but patterns emerged. The Council operated on strict hierarchy. Older spacefaring species held more power than younger ones. They made decisions by consensus, which meant change happened, slowly or not at all. And most interestingly, they had no standing military. After thousands of years of peace under their system, they had forgotten the need for armed forces. "Perfect," Park whispered to himself as they approached the massive space station that served as the Council headquarters. It orbited a neutron star, a demonstration of the Council's advanced engineering capabilities. Captain Song looked nervous. "Sir, we're being scanned. Their technology it's like nothing I've seen." "Remain calm," Park said. "Remember why we're here. To observe and learn," Captain Song replied dutifully. Park smiled. "Exactly. To learn all their weaknesses." As the small Earth vessel docked at the massive station, Park took a deep breath. He smoothed his simple black uniform and checked his reflection. The face that looked back at him was calm, pleasant, and utterly unremarkable. Perfect for being underestimated. "Let the game begin," he murmured, and stepped toward the airlock to meet the Galactic Council. Park Jin stood tall as the airlock door opened with a soft hiss. Beyond it waited his first view of the Galactic Council's headquarters. The air smelled clean but strange, with hints of spices he couldn't name. The light was softer than Earth's, sun casting a golden glow over everything. 3 aliens waited for him. The one in the middle stepped forward. It was tall and blue-skinned, with webbed hands and large eyes that reminded Park of fish from Earth's oceans. "I am Council Representative Lee Su," the alien said in perfect English. "Welcome to the Galactic Council headquarters, human." Park bowed deeply. "Thank you for this honor. I am Park Jin of Earth." Lee Su made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Yes, we know who you are. Follow me. I will show you to your quarters." The lowest level, of course, as befits a species so new to space travel. As they walked, Park kept his eyes moving, noting everything. The station was huge, with curved hallways that seemed to go on forever. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved about. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that Park could barely tell which end was the front. "The Council has 53 member species," Lee Su explained as they walked. each ranked by age of space travel and technological advancement. Earth, of course, is not yet a member. You are here to observe and learn from your betters. Understand, Park said quietly. Earth is young compared to your great civilizations. Indeed. The youngest council member achieved space travel 10,000 Earth years ago. The oldest has been traveling between stars for over 1,000,000 years. They reached a small room with a single window, showing the neutron star outside. The room had a bed, a desk, and little else. This will be your home, Li Su said. The first council meeting you may observe is tomorrow. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not move from the observer section. These rules are strict. Park bowed again. I will follow all rules carefully. After Li Su left, Park waited exactly 10 minutes before taking a small device from his pocket. He scanned the room for listening devices, moving slowly and carefully. He found 3 and marked their locations in his mind without touching them. As expected, he whispered to himself. Then he spoke normally. What an honor to be here. I must prepare for tomorrow's meeting. Behind his humble words, Park's mind was racing. Every sign of the council's arrogance was an opportunity. Every rule they expected him to follow was a weapon he could use. The council chamber was enormous. A round room with rising tiers of seats, each tier representing a different rank in the council hierarchy. At the very top sat the oldest species, strange, glowing beings that barely looked solid. At the bottom, closest to the floor, were the newest members. Park was given a small seat in a corner, far from any action. A place for observers only. Remember your place, human, Li Su said before leaving him there. For 6 hours, Park sat, perfectly still, his face showing only polite interest as the council members debated. They argued about trade routes between distant stars. They discussed the proper protocol for communicating with a newly discovered species in the Andromeda Galaxy. They spent an entire hour debating whether to change the color of official council, documents from blue to green. Not once did anyone ask for Park's opinion. Not once did anyone even look in his direction. But Park was far from bored. His trained mind caught every detail, noted every interaction. He saw how the middle-tier species always deferred to the upper tiers, even when they clearly disagreed. He noticed how some representatives from the newer species exchanged frustrated glances when older members dismissed their concerns. Most importantly, he saw the weakness at the heart of the council. They believed so completely in their superiority that they couldn't imagine anyone challenging it. They had no guards in the chamber, no weapons, no security protocols for dealing with disruption. They had forgotten what it meant to face a threat. When the session ended, Park returned to his quarters, maintained his humble demeanor for the benefit of the listening devices, and planned his next move. 3 days later, Park entered the great dining hall where council members gathered after meetings. He carried a small plate of food, carefully selected to show respect for council customs. He moved slowly, keeping his eyes down, playing the perfect humble observer. He made his way to a table where a reptilian alien sat alone. Park had noticed this alien during council meetings. It represented a mid-tier species called the Orion Collective, known for their vast trading networks. Excuse me, Park said softly. Are these seats taken? I would be honored to sit in your presence, if permitted. The alien looked surprised. Its scales shifted color slightly, from green to bluish green. You may sit, human, it said after a moment. I am Representative Kang Tae. Park sat down and arranged his food carefully before speaking again. Your argument about the trade routes in the Vega sector was very compelling yesterday. Kang Tae's head tilted to one side. You understood the economic implications of my proposal? Yes, Park said, allowing a little more intelligence to show in his eyes. The current routes favor the elder species planets, but your proposal would benefit at least 12 systems without harming anyone. Yet it was dismissed, Kang Tae said bitterly. As always, Park nodded sympathetically. It must be frustrating to have good ideas ignored. You speak boldly for an observer, Kang Tae said, but there was curiosity in its voice, not anger. I observe everything, Park replied with a small smile. Including that your species controls 30% of all trade in 3 sectors, yet has only a minor voice in the council. Kang Tae leaned forward. And what else have you observed, human? Park glanced around to ensure no higher-tier species were nearby. That the council's hierarchy is based on age, not merit. That decisions take years when they should take days. That many mid-tier species like yours are growing restless. Kang Tae's scales rippled, a sign of intense interest. These are dangerous observations. Knowledge is only dangerous when acted upon, Park said mildly. I am merely learning, as instructed. They ate in silence for a few minutes. Then Kang Tae spoke quietly. There are others who share your observations. Perhaps you would like to meet them? Park allowed himself a small, genuine smile. I would be honored. As they finished their meal, Park noticed Lee Soo watching from across the room. He immediately lowered his eyes and adopted his humble posture again. The game had begun, and the first piece was in place. Over the next few weeks, Park met with representatives from 12 different mid-tier species. Always in public, always appearing to be simply learning about their cultures. But in each conversation, he planted seeds. To the Han Collective, a resource-rich species with little political power, he mentioned Earth's advanced mining techniques that could double their production. To the Choi Federation, a technologically advanced but resource-poor species, he suggested new trade agreements that would bypass council regulations. Each conversation ended the same way. The alien representative would ask, "Why are you telling me this?" And Park would answer, "Because Earth believes in cooperation based on mutual benefit, not arbitrary hierarchies." Word spread quietly through the mid-tier species. The human observer was not what he seemed. He had ideas, dangerous ideas, interesting ideas. Higher-tier council members began to notice something was happening. Conversations stopped when they entered rooms. Mid-tier species were meeting more often, without inviting others. 1 month after his arrival, Park was summoned to meet with council member Bayek, an elder species representative who resembled a tall, thin human with silver skin. You have been very active for an observer, Beck said, its voice melodic but cold. Park bowed deeply. I am learning a great deal, as instructed. You have been speaking with many representatives, discussing things beyond your position. Park's face remained calm, respectful. I apologize if I have overstepped. On Earth, learning involves asking questions, engaging in dialogue. On Earth, perhaps. Here it means watching and listening to your betters, Beck said sharply. Remember, your place, human. You are here on our goodwill. Park bowed again, deeper this time. Of course. I will be more mindful. As he left the meeting, Park allowed himself a small smile. The council was noticing. Good. Everything was going according to plan. 2 months had passed since Park Jin arrived at the Galactic Council headquarters. On the surface, nothing had changed. Park still sat quietly in council meetings, bowed respectfully to higher-tier species, and kept his eyes down when addressed by his betters. But beneath this calm surface, everything was changing. Park walked through the lower levels of the station, where mid-tier species had their quarters. Unlike his first days, aliens now nodded to him as he passed. Some even smiled in their various ways. Park had become a familiar and welcome presence here. He reached his destination, a small meeting room that officially didn't exist. The station's maps showed it as a storage area. Park pressed his hand to the door and it recognized him immediately. Inside waited representatives from 5 mid-tier species. Welcome, Park Jin of Earth, said Kang Tae, the reptilian trader who had become Park's closest ally. We were just discussing the latest council decision about the Proxima system. Park took his seat at the table. Gone was the humble posture, the downcast eyes. Here, among his allies, he sat straight and confident. Let me guess, Park said. The elder species rejected the mining rights for newer members again. Moon Ho, A small furry alien from the Han Collective made a chirping sound of frustration. 3 years we have requested permission. 3 years. Our people need those minerals. Meanwhile, added Jin Suk, a crystalline being from the Choi Federation, the highest tier gets exclusive rights to the best planets without debate. Park nodded sympathetically. This is exactly the pattern I've observed since arriving. The Council claims to exist for the benefit of all species, but in practice it maintains the power of the oldest members. He stood up and activated a holographic display in the center of the table. A map of the galaxy appeared with different sections colored according to which species controlled them. Look at this map, Park said. The elder species control 80% of all known resources. They justify this by claiming they need these resources for their advanced research that supposedly benefits everyone. But we rarely see the results of this research, Kang Tae said bitterly. Exactly. Park zoomed in on a particular sector. Now look at what happened when I analyzed trade routes between your 5 systems. The hologram shifted, showing lines connecting different planets. Some lines were thick and bright, others thin and dim. If you formed a separate trading alliance, Park explained, you could increase efficiency by 60%. No council approval needed, since internal trade policies are left to individual species. The 5 representatives leaned forward, studying the map with great interest. This could work, Jin Suk said slowly. But the council would not be happy. The council doesn't need to know the full extent of your cooperation, Park replied with a small smile. Not yet. He pressed another button and the hologram changed again. This time it showed Earth ships, hundreds of them, modern and well-armed. What is this? Asked Munho. While I've been here learning about the council, Earth has been busy, Park said. These ships have been built in secret deep in our solar system. They are faster and more advanced than the council knows. How is this possible? Jin Suk asked. The council believes Earth barely has space travel. Park's smile widened. The council believes what we wanted them to believe. Earth has been advancing much faster than we revealed, and we're prepared to share our technology with our allies. The room fell silent as the 5 representatives looked at each other. Is this why you've been meeting with so many mid-tier species? Kang Tae asked finally. Building a coalition. Yes, Park admitted. Earth cannot change the council alone. But together with allies who have been treated unfairly for centuries, together we can create something better. This is dangerous talk, Jin Suk warned. If the elder species discover your plans, they won't, Park assured them. They are too confident in their superiority to imagine any real challenge. By the time they realize what's happening, it will be too late. The next day, Park sat through another long council meeting. The higher-tier species were arguing about renaming a distant star system. Park kept his face neutral, even as his mind raced with plans and calculations. After the meeting, Council Member Bayek approached him again. The tall, silver-skinned alien looked down at Park with suspicion in its glowing eyes. Human, there are rumors about you, Beck said. Rumors that you are engaging in activities beyond your role as observer. Park bowed deeply. I am merely learning about the many wonderful species in the council, as is my purpose here. You have been seen meeting with representatives from multiple mid-tier species. Private meetings. Park kept his face perfectly humble. I am studying their cultures. On Earth, we believe in learning through direct interaction. Beck's silver skin seemed to shimmer with anger. You forget your place, human. You were invited here to observe and learn from the council as a whole, not to form separate relationships. Parkeo straightened slightly, allowing a hint of confidence to show. With respect, Council Member Bayek, my invitation did not specify such limitations. If the Council wishes to add new restrictions to Earth's participation, perhaps this should be formally discussed. Beck seemed startled by this response. For a moment, the elder species representative didn't know how to reply. Finally, it said, Consider this a warning, human. The Council is watching you. As Beck walked away, Park allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. The plan was working perfectly. The elder species were beginning to worry, but they still underestimated the threat. They still saw only a single human causing minor diplomatic trouble, not the beginning of a revolution. That evening, Park sent a coded message back to Earth using a secret communication channel built into his ship. Director Kim's face appeared on his secure screen. "Report," she said simply. "Phase 1 is complete," Park told her. "I've established alliances with 23 mid-tier species. All feel the same frustration with the council hierarchy. Any problems?" "The elder species are growing suspicious, but they still don't understand what's happening. They think I'm being disrespectful, not dangerous." Director Kim nodded. "And the fleet?" "Ready and in position. Hidden in the shadow of the neutron star, just as planned. The council's sensors haven't detected them." "Excellent." Director Kim leaned closer to the screen. "The Security Council has reviewed your progress. We're impressed, Park, but some members are concerned about the scale of what you're proposing." Park's expression remained confident. "The original mission was to improve Earth's standing in the galaxy. I've found a way to do much more than that." "You're talking about overthrowing the entire Galactic Council," Director Kim pointed out. "That's far beyond your original orders. The Council is corrupt and stagnant," Park replied firmly. "It would take centuries for Earth to gain any real influence within their system. This way, we reshape the system itself." Director Kim studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. "The Security Council has voted. You have authorization to proceed with Phase 2. "Thank you, Director." "Don't thank me yet, Park. If this fails, Earth could face the united anger of 53 advanced species. We're putting the fate of our planet in your hands." Park looked directly into the camera. "I won't fail." After the transmission ended, Park returned to his desk and began writing messages to all his allies. It was time to move forward. The next council meeting would be one the galaxy would never forget. Behind his calm expression, Park felt a thrill of anticipation. Soon the humble observer from Earth would show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. The day of the emergency council session arrived. Park Jin stood before the mirror in his quarters, adjusting his uniform. Gone was the simple black outfit he had worn since arriving. Today, he wore a crisp white uniform with gold trim, the colors of Earth's united government. "Are the ships in position?" Park asked without turning around. Captain Song, who had been his silent support throughout this mission, nodded. "Yes, sir. All 300 vessels have moved into pre-arranged coordinates. They await your signal." "And our allies?" 27 species have confirmed their support. Their representatives are ready." Park finally turned from the mirror. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with intensity. "Then it's time." The Grand Council chamber was full. Every representative from all 53 species was present. Rumors had spread about an important announcement. Even the highest tier, species who often sent assistants to regular meetings, had come in person. Council leader Yoon, a tall being made of what looked like living light, stood at the central podium. "This emergency session has been called at the request of 27 member species," Yoon announced, surprise evident in its glowing form. "This is unusual. The floor recognizes Park Jin of Earth, who will speak on behalf of these members." A murmur ran through the chamber, an observer speaking in a full council session. This had never happened before. Park walked to the center of the room, his white uniform standing out among the colorful aliens. He stood straight and proud, all traces of his former humble posture gone. "Honored representatives of the Galactic Council," Park began, his voice strong and clear. "For 6 months I have sat among you as an observer. I have watched. I have learned. As instructed." He paused, looking around the chamber, making eye contact with many representatives. "What I have learned is that this council, for all its age and wisdom, has become stagnant. It preserves power for the oldest species, while the younger members struggle for basic rights. It takes years to make decisions that should take days. It claims to represent all spacefaring life, yet ignores the needs of most of its members." Outraged cries came from the higher tiers. Council Leader Yoon's light form flashed with anger. This is outrageous. The human forgets his place, Park smiled. No, Council Leader. For the first time since arriving, I am standing exactly in my place. He pressed a button on his wrist and a large holographic display appeared above the chamber. It showed hundreds of Earthships, sleek and powerful, moving out from behind the neutron star where they had been hiding. While I learned about the Council, Earth has been preparing, Park continued. These ships represent technology you believed was beyond our capability. Some are armed with weapons you thought we hadn't invented yet. Others carry trade goods, scientific equipment, and the means to build new colonies. The chamber erupted, in chaos. Elder species representatives shouted for order. Mid-tier species watched with growing excitement. Council member Bayek pushed forward. This is an act of war. The human threatens the Council with military force. Not war, Park corrected calmly. Revolution, or perhaps evolution. The Council has existed for tens of thousands of years, yet it has barely changed. The same species hold power. The same rules limit progress. The same thinking prevents innovation. He pressed another button, and the hologram changed. Now it showed a new document, its title clear for all to see. Charter of the Galactic Federation. 27 species have already signed this new charter, Park announced. Together we are forming a new alliance, one based on equality and shared progress, not age and arbitrary hierarchy. Council Leader Yoon's light form pulsed with fury. This is treason. The Council will not stand for this rebellion, Park raised an eyebrow. With what will you stop it? The Council has no military force, no united defense system. You have relied on consensus and tradition for so long that you forgot what it means to face real opposition. He looked around the chamber again, this time focusing on the representatives who had not yet joined his alliance. To the remaining species, I extend an invitation. Join the Galactic Federation. Your status will be equal to all other members. Your voice will be heard. Your needs will matter. The chamber fell silent as the magnitude of what was happening sank in. Half the Council was already committed to this new federation. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted in a single day. Council member Bayek stepped forward, its silver skin shimmering with rage. And who will lead this federation? You. Human? Is that your true goal? Park smiled. It was not a humble smile, nor was it cruel. It was the confident smile of someone who had planned for this moment for a very long time. The Federation will eventually establish democratic elections, he said, but during this transition period, yes, I will serve as interim emperor. Emperor? Bayek spat the word. You were sent here to learn humility, a common misunderstanding, Park replied. Earth sent me here to advance our position in the galaxy. No one specified how far that advancement should go. He turned back to address the entire chamber. The age of the Council is ending. The age of the Federation is beginning. Those who join us will prosper. Those who resist and will be left behind. As if on cue, the station lights flickered. On the large display, Earthships could be seen taking control of key positions around the headquarters. We have already secured this station's main systems, Park explained. No one will be harmed, but no one will stop what is happening either. Council Leader Yoon's light form dimmed slightly. How could one human do this? We invited you here as an observer, a student. That was your first mistake, Park said simply. You should have researched our history more carefully. Humans have a long tradition of turning observation into opportunity. He stepped back from the central position and gestured to his allies among the mid-tier species. Representatives of the new Galactic Federation, please join me. We have much work to do. 27 representatives rose from their seats and moved to stand with Park. Together they formed a semicircle, facing the shocked elder species. This council session is now adjourned, Park announced. The first meeting of the Galactic Federation will begin in 1 hour. All are welcome to attend, as observers. With that final statement, Park turned and walked out of the chamber, his allies following behind him. The remaining council members sat in stunned silence, watching as half their number departed. Outside in the hallway, Kang Tae hurried to walk beside Park. "That was impressive," the reptilian trader said, "but dangerous. The elder species will not accept this easily." "They don't need to accept it," Park replied confidently. "They need to recognize reality. The galaxy has changed today." "And you really intend to be emperor?" Park smiled. "Interim emperor, until elections can be arranged." "And when will that be?" Kang Tae asked carefully. Park looked at his ally with amused eyes. "That depends on how quickly we can establish stability in the Federation. It could take years, perhaps decades." As they walked toward the chamber that would host the first Federation meeting, Park felt a deep satisfaction. 6 months ago, he, Ia, had arrived as a humble observer from a primitive planet. Now he walked the halls as the most powerful being in the galaxy. Earth had hoped he would improve their standing in the galactic community. He had done that, and so much more. He had changed the very structure of that community, Emperor Park. He rather liked the sound of that. 1 year had passed since Park Jin's declaration. The former council headquarters had transformed completely. Where once stood rigid hierarchies and ancient protocols, now representatives from all species worked together as equals. Emperor Park sat in his office reviewing reports on a large holographic screen. The office had once belonged to Council Leader Yoon. Now it was the command center for the Galactic Federation. The door slid open, and Kang Tae entered. The reptilian trader now served as Minister of Commerce for the Federation. "Good morning, Emperor," Kang Tae said with a slight bow. "Good morning, Minister," Park replied with a smile. "How are the new trade routes performing?" "Better than expected. Commerce between former mid-tier worlds has increased by 200%. Even some of the elder species have begun participating in our open trade network." Park nodded with satisfaction. "And what of the holdouts?" Kang Tae's scales shifted to a deeper green. 12 elder species still refuse to join the Federation. They have retreated to their home systems and closed their borders. "Let them hide," Park said calmly. "Time is on our side." The door opened again. Jin Suk, the crystalline being, who now served as Minister of Science, entered. "Emperor, the technology sharing initiative has yielded remarkable results," Jin Suk reported. "By combining Earth's innovative approaches with the advanced knowledge of former Council species, we've made breakthroughs in faster-than-light travel, energy production, and medicine." "Excellent," Park said. "Ensure these advancements are shared equally among all Federation members." "Even the newest species?" Jin Suk asked. "Especially them," Park insisted. "The Federation's strength comes from lifting all members, not just a select few." As his ministers left to continue their work, Park turned to the large window overlooking space. The neutron star glowed in the distance, a reminder of how much had changed in just 1 year. From this station, the Emperor now governed nearly 2/3 of the known galaxy. 41 species had joined the Federation, drawn by its promises of equality and shared progress. Only the most conservative elder species still held out, clinging to their memories of Council supremacy. Park's communication panel chimed. "A message from Earth. Accept," Park commanded. Director Kim's face appeared on the screen. She looked older than when Park had last seen her, the stress of the past year evident in her eyes. "Emperor Park," she said with a formal nod. "Earth sends its greetings." "Director Kim," Park replied, "it's good to see you. I've received your latest report. The Federation Council is impressed with your progress." Park smiled slightly at the careful wording. The Federation Council she referred to was Earth's leadership, not his new galactic government. "Was this your plan all along?" Director Kim asked, her expression a mixture of awe and concern. "Not entirely," Park admitted. "I was sent to improve Earth's standing in the galaxy. As I learned more about the Council, I saw an opportunity for something greater." "You've certainly improved our standing," Director Kim said dryly. "Earth now has influence beyond anything we imagined, but some Council members worry about your title." "Emperor?" "Yes. It has, concerning historical connotations. Park shrugged. It was a calculated choice. The galaxy needed a strong symbol of change. President, or Prime Minister, wouldn't have had the same impact on species with thousands of years of hierarchical thinking. And how long do you intend to keep this title? Director Kim asked directly. Your reports mention elections eventually. Park turned back to the window, considering his words carefully. The Federation is still young. Many species have never participated in true democracy. They need time to learn. So you're teaching them? In a way, Park said. Through the Galactic Academy. The Galactic Academy had been one of Park's first initiatives. Built on the lowest level of the station, where observers and lesser species had once been housed, it now trained representatives from all Federation worlds in diplomacy, governance, and cooperation. Earth's concerns aside, Park continued, the Federation has achieved in 1 year what the Council failed to do in 10,000. We've ended resource monopolies, established fair trade, and begun sharing technology across all member species. Director Kim nodded slowly. No one can deny your success. Earth's position has never been stronger. And it will only improve, Park assured her. Soon, we'll begin establishing new colony worlds for human settlement. Earth's population will have room to grow and prosper among the stars. After the transmission ended, Park stood and walked to his private chambers. There, displayed on the wall, was a simple black uniform, the one he had worn when he first arrived as a humble observer. He kept it as a reminder of how far he had come. A chime indicated another visitor. Park returned to his office to find Moon Ho, the small furry alien who now served as his chief advisor. Emperor, the new representatives from the Proxima system, have arrived, Moon Ho reported. They're eager to join the Federation. Proxima? Park smiled. The same system the Council refused to open for mining rights? The very same, Moon Ho confirmed with a chirping laugh. Now they come to us asking for membership. Show them in, Park ordered. Let's welcome our newest members properly. As Park prepared to greet the newcomers, he reflected on the remarkable journey of the past 18 months. From Earth's representative to Galactic Emperor, from observer to ruler, from student to teacher. The elder species had expected humans to be humble, to accept their place at the bottom of the galactic hierarchy. They had fundamentally misunderstood human nature. Throughout Earth's history, humans had always looked at limitations as challenges, at barriers as opportunities for innovation. The Great Hall was filled with representatives from dozens of worlds. As Park entered to meet the Proxima delegation, all rose to show respect. Not the fearful deference the Council had demanded, but genuine respect earned through actions and results. Welcome to the Galactic Federation, Park said to the new arrivals. Here, all species stand as equals. Here, your voice matters as much as any other. Here, we build a future together. Later that evening, Park stood alone in his chambers, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth continued its own journey, its people now spreading to new worlds, taking their place among the great civilizations of the galaxy. They sent me to be humble, Park whispered to himself. But humanity's destiny was never meant for humility. On his desk sat a report about the Galactic Academy. Humans from Earth now taught diplomacy, strategy, and leadership to students from 100 worlds. The elder races called it arrogance. Park called it sharing essential knowledge. The galaxy was changing, faster than it had in thousands of years. Old barriers were falling, new alliances were forming, and at the center of it all stood a single human who had been expected to sit quietly and learn from his betters. Instead, the galaxy had learned from him. Emperor Park turned from the window and smiled. This was only the beginning. The future, stretched before him, filled with possibilities that even he had not yet imagined. The age of humanity had begun. End of story.